Hi, everybody. Okay, I'm gonna escape, restart. Okay, right before we do that, I'd like you all to do me a favor to help me keep on my time. Whenever the slide changes, and since it's after lunch, I'd like each of you to give me like a very primal sort of a like something like that. So we're gonna do that on 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's gonna help me out, thank you. All right, so the slides. All right, so my name is Isaac. I was an interrogator in the Army. I served in Iraq and Afghanistan. And I'm going to give you some things that have to do with listening, because half of interrogating is listening. So we're going to talk about how listening, if you get better at listening, thank you, that was good. Good job. By listening better, you will have better relationships, you'll do better professionally, and when you do better professionally, you get paid more. So listening is a very useful skill. Yes. So it's ridiculously important to be a good listener. To be a good communicator, you need to be a good listener. And there are lots of different frameworks for having good listening skills. Some of them are tough to use, but if you can do this, then you'll carry on and do better. So the interrogation school is at Fort Huachuca in Arizona. And it's a unique place because you kind of get the smartest people in all the branches of the military going there to learn how to do interrogation. But teaching a 19-year-old who's fresh out of high school how to be an interrogator is a very interesting proposition because they have to understand people deeply. They have to learn how to relate to people deeply, and they're not that experienced in life. So what they do is they've gamified listening. What they do is they score you on how you've been listening and how you're able to obtain information. So it's a very interesting experience to have your listening gamified. There are role-playing games. If you've ever done role-playing in a corporate setting, you know it's kind of hokey. You're like, this isn't so good, let's not do this. But that's all you do all day when you're learning to be an interrogator. You do this role-playing, and there are clues, like that little tile right there, where it's like, oh, what should I do with that? I should probably put a bomb there. It's the same thing in conversation where you're like, hey, somebody said something like, oh, well, all the people in my unit don't like me. If you just breeze past that, you're going to miss something important. This is where we talk about interrogation, the good parts. Kind of like JavaScript, the good parts. So I'm going to give you some things that I learned from interrogating. First of all, the concept of a human lie detector is bogus. Like, that's the question I get all the time, like, hey, can you tell if anybody's lying? I cannot. It doesn't exist, and people that tell you that they can are trying to sell you something. Rapport is hugely important. If you want to get to know someone deeply, if you, in your relationships or in your communication, you want to be able to communicate and connect deeply, you need to have rapport with people. Rapport can make or break any situation where you go into a meeting or you go into an interview or some conflict-laden experience, and the rapport that you have with the person you're communicating with can make or break you. If listening to someone isn't difficult, if it doesn't take something out of you, you're probably not doing a great job of it. It should take something out of you to sit and listen deeply and properly. As part of that, you should do your homework whenever you are going to a new situation where you need to talk to somebody, you're going for a job interview or something. You should know much more about that person than they think that you will. So that's something that I learned. And another thing is to gain clarity right now. We're tempted oftentimes to try to pretend like we know more than we do. Don't do it. It's not worth it. It's a great way to engage in a conversation. Great. Be honest about what you don't understand. Everyone loves to teach. And most people don't realize that, but if you ask somebody to teach you something, you'll get a better level of engagement and a better level of connection. So don't be like the Kool-Aid man and come busting through somebody's preconceived notions. The pseudo is not for human use. You can't use that on people, they don't like it. So don't be like the Kool-Aid man, come busting in. All right, self-control is the only humane form of control that you have at your disposal. If you try to control the way somebody thinks or the way that they react to how you speak, it won't work. So self-control is the only thing that you have to actually control. I talked to you about these benefits of having a better relationships, better professional life, more money. I actually don't care that much about that. What I care more about is having a more connected and kind of beautiful, harmonious world. That's what I want for you. That's what I want for all of us, and that's why I gave this talk. I'm Isaac Elias. You can find me on Twitter there, and I'm a software engineer at TrueLink Financial. Thank you.